We have a major OG Anunoby update as the Knicks star continues to rehab from his injured hamstring, and the Eastern Conference semifinals rage on. We're getting one step closer to figuring out who the New York Knicks will be facing in the next round of the playoffs. We got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Knicks Basketball 365. If you are a New York Knicks fan, please hit that subscribe button. Only 6% of viewers are subscribed to the channel, and it really helps me out a ton. Well, let's jump right into what we got for today. Coming from Stefan Bondi, NBA on Twitter. OG Anunoby was a full participant in practice today, according to Mike Brown. Encouraging update for the Knicks star. This is huge for us to get because OG injured his hamstring in Game 2 versus the Philadelphia 76ers. He was held out of the final two games of the series correctly by the Knicks because we ended up winning both games. But now we need OG Anunoby back to give us the best possible chance in this series. Yes, the Knicks would probably win the series without OG Anunoby, but that is not a situation that we want to test. We do not want to put that theory into actual scientific testing. We just want to play Game 1 through however many the Eastern Conference Finals goes with our star OG Anunoby, the third best player, honestly, arguably the best player on the New York Knicks throughout the playoff run. He's a major piece to get back because of his defensive and offensive impact at the exact same time. We've said it before, he's a perfect role player. He is the type of player that every single team in the NBA is looking for. They want to add a guy like OG Anunoby to their team. I remember the day that he signed the massive contract that he signed with the Knicks, one of the best days ever. But him returning to be a full participant in practice is a huge deal, seeing how that means if he's practicing today, he still has at least till Sunday before the Knicks would ever have to play Game 1. Now, when the New York Knicks have to play their next playoff game, it does come down to what happens in tonight's game. Tonight at 7 p.m., the Detroit Pistons and Cleveland Cavaliers face off in Cleveland for Game 6 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. If the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are currently up 3-2, win today's game, that means that the Knicks and Cavaliers will be facing off on Sunday. Should the Detroit Pistons win another game tonight, tying the series 3-3, then the Cavaliers and Pistons would face off on Sunday, making the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals on Tuesday. So in both situations, the Knicks will be coming off of a lot of rest and facing off with a team that played 2 nights ago. However, you of course would rather see the Pistons win tonight because you want to see both of these teams get as worn out as they possibly can. And then hopefully we can get that scheduled loss the same way Philadelphia fans told us that the Game 1 loss versus us was a scheduled loss. That would give the New York Knicks a tremendous advantage in Game 1 versus either one of these teams. If the Pistons were the teams to win in 7 games, that means the Knicks would be on the road for Game 1. And with that rest advantage, even though the Pistons would be the home team, the Knicks would still likely be favored in that basketball game, which means the Knicks could win that game where they would likely be favored, lose Game 2 versus the Pistons where we would likely be underdogs, and then we would have back-to-back games in Madison Square Garden with being favored in both games, with the opportunity for the Knicks to take a 3-1 commanding lead over the Detroit Pistons. Now, you may say, but Matt, the Detroit Pistons have already came back from 3-1. Even 3-1 is not a great position to be in. The New York Knicks are not the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic, they are just like the Detroit Pistons. They have a fantastic defense, but they don't have enough shooters, or they don't have enough offense in general, and they have one shooter. The Orlando Magic only had Desmond Bane. The Detroit Pistons, they only have Duncan Robinson. The New York Knicks have averaged a ton more points than the Detroit Pistons, and if we play up to the level that the Knicks can, I'm not even saying their full potential. Their full potential is Game 6 versus the Hawks, Game 1 versus the Sixers. I'm not even talking about that, or Game 4 versus Sixers as well. Not even talking about that. What I'm saying, the Knicks just have to play like the Knicks. They need to play just a normal game, and the Knicks should be able to defeat the Detroit Pistons in 5 or 6 games. Of course, right now, we know, looking at the odds, the more likely outcome is that the Cleveland Cavaliers do end up winning the series. Of course, they are up 3-2 right now. If we look at the Eastern Conference Finals conference winners, odds, according to FanDuel, the Detroit Pistons are plus 900. The Cleveland Cavaliers are plus 300. So Vegas is projecting the Detroit Pistons to lose one of these next 2 games, and then end up being eliminated and making the Cavaliers the Knicks' next matchup. So in that situation, the Knicks then would be hosting game 1. So instead of doing what we would do against the Pistons, where we would be road favorites, we would just be huge favorites at Madison Square Garden and almost a lock to go up 1-0 over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Which way would you rather have it? The Detroit Pistons are the better team, but they give you that situation of the Knicks would be home, or they would be away road team favorites in that first game. That's a very, very rare situation that it would be amazing for the Knicks to find themselves in. The problem with the Pistons is they have a defense that it's possible for that defense to shut down what the Knicks are doing for 4 games and for the Pistons to pull the upset in that series. The Cleveland Cavaliers, their team is much more balanced, and when you watch them, it feels much more like they just don't have a pathway to beat the Knicks. Like, you look at their offense and you go, all right, their offense is good. That's why they're going to be going to the Eastern Conference Finals. But at the same time, their offense is not elite, and their offense is not better than the Knicks. Their offense is not better than the Knicks offense. The Cavaliers offense is not better than the Knicks defense. The Knicks have the advantage there. And then at the same time, the Knicks defense is better than the Cavs defense, and the Knicks defense is better than the Cavs offense. So the Cleveland Cavaliers, really, their team, they don't have a lot of roster red flags the way that essentially the rest of the East does outside of the New York Knicks. But the Cavs' problem is their players just are not really good enough. You look at James Harden, who he has an amazing player, great player, legend of the game, still a walking legend in the NBA. I'm not hating on James Harden, but he has too many playoff games of more turnovers committed than field goals made. That's a problem, especially when Donovan Mitchell is going ghost mode for full halves at a time. Me and my friend always text about this. It feels like in the playoffs, there is a clause written into the contract of the Cleveland Cavaliers players, their big 3 of Evan Mobley, James Harden, and Donovan Mitchell, that one of the 3 has to be a ghost each and every game. We remember, I believe it was game 2, where Evan Mobley grabbed 1 rebound for the game. A 7-foot-tall forward grabbed 1 rebound for the entire game in a series where the Pistons star center, or at least regular season star center, Jalen Brunson, has gone ghost mode in the playoffs. He's disappeared, and Mobley only grabbed 1 rebound over him. The New York Knicks are in a position to beat both of these teams, looking so good. The one thing that the Cavaliers do have going for them is that home record, which is part of the reason why we are expecting the Cavaliers to close out this game tonight. The Cavs have a record of 6-0 at home in the 2026 playoffs. The New York Knicks on the road in the 2026 playoffs, 4-1. And if you think that is too small of a sample size, or maybe it's not a great stat because of the weakness of teams we face, and I understand we played weaker competition. The Sixers are worse than both the Cavs and the Pistons, and round 1, the Atlanta Hawks didn't have a matchup for Karl-Anthony Towns. They're not necessarily worse than the Magic or the Raptors, but the Hawks, for the Knicks, the Hawks were just with their injuries, they didn't have the right matchup for Karl-Anthony Towns, so that was an easy series. But if you think that 4-1 number on the road in 2026 is fluky, look at 2025, where the Knicks were also pretty good on the road in the playoffs, 6-3 record in the 2025 playoffs. Should be an interesting night. I'm looking forward to this game. Maybe we figure out who the New York Knicks will be facing tonight. I'm hoping that the series goes 7. That's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Knicks.